Hi, everybody. We are live. I'm Anita from Ketogenic Woman, and with me tonight is Christy from Meeting Wellness. How are you tonight,
Hi,
Christy?
I'm doing great. How are you, Anita?
Good. I've been looking through the chat, and everybody is cold. Are you cold?
Yeah. I'm afraid to say because I think I'm gonna get run off the show.
No, you're not.
No, it's 60 degrees here in sunny Southern California. Not negative 60,
Just
60.
plain old
Just
60,
plain old
above
60.
60 on the positive side. Yes, I think a lot of people would like
Mhm.
to throw tomatoes right now
I
or
know. I'm
something like
sorry.
that. Lots of cold people, you guys. Please stay warm, stay safe. I'm in Western Canada and we usually are not this cold. My hummingbird feeder kept freezing and I kept having to bring it into thaw. So tonight, I just want to let's get this started. I want to just let you know what we're going to be doing and a couple of announcements. We have the wonderful Bonnie and Melissa are in the chat there. They are moderators and will answer questions and provide links where they can. So thank you to those two. And I just want to say next Sunday, Alice and Kevin will be back, and we are going to talk about exercise. I'm very excited to have them back. They've been working with me on my exercise routine. We have a video of the week, and it ties into our topic tonight. The video of the week is from Nia's Way. It is her budget beef jerky that she made in her regular round. I think it's a Nesco. If I don't know if I'm saying the name of her dehydrator correctly, but I thought her method was just genius, and I'm going to try her method, but in my square dehydrator. We'll see how that goes. But
Okay.
yeah, check out her video. Tonight we're going to talk about saving money, budget shopping, and specifically saving money on meat. It is probably, even if you're not carnivore, if you're here and you're low carb or keto, meat is a pretty substantial part of your budget. And so what Christy and I did was we had a discussion about the prices in Canada versus US and all that, because I'm Canadian, she's from California. So we made a shopping list, and it was an identical shopping list. And she went off to Walmart in California, and I went off to Walmart here, and we bought the same stuff. And then we came back and we compared prices and some interesting things that we found. So that's I'm setting you up for the clip that we're going to watch, and then we'll just watch a few seconds of this clip, and the whole clip is only 4 or 5 minutes, and we'll be stopping and talking about some of the things that we found, and then we want all your questions. So we'll be answering those. So let me just come over here and see if this works. Fingers crossed. Grocery shopping. Oh, much either. So I try to get there. I got to get it early. We both went with the same list. So let's start with our eggs. I have.
Hey,
I bought the cheapest eggs, 1 dozen of just large white eggs. So they were
awesome.
$2.95 a dozen, or 25 cents per egg.
Okay, well, I bought the same thing. So where I am, it's the Great Value brand, just the white eggs. It was 1 dozen eggs, and my eggs were $1.30 for the dozen, and that comes out to 11 cents per egg.
Wow. So I have the same brand, by the way. These are great value.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna stop that for a moment. So I can't believe the price difference of eggs between here and there. And so, Christy, we talked
Yeah.
about the eggs because I mean, I normally buy organic and you normally buy pasture eggs.
I
What,
do.
yeah. So what did you think of those eggs? Did you use them, right?
I did use them, and I mostly notice the difference if I'm just eating eggs, like some over easy eggs. I feel like when
Hmm.
I eat the pasture raised eggs, like I have to eat fewer of them. Like there's more nutrients in there or something.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point.
But I did interview like a pasture egg
Hmm.
farmer, and
Hmm.
she really convinced me about the quality of the yolk in those pastured
Right.
eggs,
Yeah.
and the difference that there is. However, I will say if my budget got really tight, I would not be afraid to buy those,
Yes.
$1.30 a dozen eggs. Yeah, I thought California was expensive. Canada, you guys, it was more than double for just some plain
Yes, it was.
eggs.
Yeah, I don't know if like the clip seemed a little like it was choppy. I don't know if you heard that as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, it was more than double. It's 25 cents per egg, cheapest eggs in the store, and you
Yes.
said yours were 11 cents. So
11 cents an egg. Hmm.
but still, here, I mean, eggs is one way to really keep the budget low. When you're trying to figure out, if you have a certain budget, whether it's $10 a day or whatever it is, eggs is one of those things that can pack a lot of nutrition. Even those eggs, they're going to pack
Yes.
a lot of nutrition with just 25 cents. Like for 25 or 50 cents, I would definitely add a couple of eggs, to the meat that I have in the day, just to get a little bit more. So
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good way to kind of bulk up your plate,
yes.
and get some extra protein and all those vitamins in the yolk for not very much money.
Yeah, and that extra variety. So let's
Hmm.
let's see let's see what's next on here. I gotta try and get this up on this. Like there's some whoops. Okay, no, I'm trying to get it back up on the screen. Okay, is it going to come up? Hang on. Technical issues.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go. There was like
There we go.
you, I looked at the butter that was 6.48 a pound, and it was the don't think it was. It might have been Great Value or whatever the house brand is that Walmart has, and I opted to pay an extra 40 cents for this one because this one only had two ingredients, being cream and salt. It is now. Be prepared to be shocked because we have high butter prices here. It turned out to be $5.10 a pound for this, or 16 cents a tablespoon.
Okay, so this, I got the Great Value brand. That's interesting because here where I am in California, this is the Great Value brand, which is the Walmart brand, and the ingredients are just cream and salt. So it doesn't have whatever that mysterious third ingredient is.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the price on this is $4.18 a pound. That worked out to 13 cents per tablespoon.
Let's talk about bacon. Oh, okay. I'm gonna stop that and put me and Christy back. Oh, there we go. Okay. The mystery ingredient.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah, so it's called annatto, and I had never heard of it before. And I did look it up, and it comes from a plant. It's a large seed pod of some kind, and it comes from the tropics. So in my mind, it feels like that's got to be a tropical seed oil. I don't know, but I know that a lot of people in other countries use that for color and texture. Like people have been sort of contacting me ever since I mentioned it on one of my
Mm,
Tuesday talks. I just feel like, does it need to be in butter? Does it need to be
right.
there, right? And
And,
I just
and
don't know
I
enough about it.
I had never looked for it before until you mentioned it. And so then, of course, I started looking for it and I found it in some cheddar cheese that my husband had purchased. It was like the sliced cheddar cheese in the bulk pack.
Okay.
And it was like, well, why is that in there? Most cheese that I see doesn't need that or have that in there. And I think it does say that it's for color.
Okay.
But it just seems I'm kind of with you. Like if I can find cheese or butter without it, I prefer to just keep the ingredients list as minimal as possible.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm gonna pay 40 cents to not have it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But what was so intriguing to me was it's the same brand. It's a great value,
I know.
but what they sell to you is not the same as what they sell to us.
Yeah, it's interesting, and maybe maybe in Canada they allow that ingredient to be in butter, and where you are they don't.
Yeah.
So who knows? But it's a lesson in reading your labels, and we have another interesting food coming up with the same idea. But let's go back to the bacon for a moment.
Yeah, for sure.
So hang on, we're going to have that clip.
Oh my goodness, it's so slow.
How many strips were in here, because in Canada, along with inflation, we have shrinkflation. They used to sell bacon by the pound, and now they sell it by the 375 grams, which is probably equivalent to your 12-ounce packages.
Okay.
I'm thinking. And so I decided, okay, the best thing to do was to convert it over, do price per slice. So this slice of bacon costs 51 cents for one slice.
Okay. Well, this is my bacon, and at my Walmart, well, this is the Great Value brand, and
Yeah.
I went with the regular slices. So you can get thick slice or regular. So this
Yeah,
is just
this is
the regular slices.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can buy it in 12-ounce packages, like you said, but I grabbed the 1 pound package. And for this 1 pound of bacon, it was $6.16. There are 14 slices in here, and that worked out to 44 cents per slice.
Okay. There's our bacon.
So I'm excited to talk about bacon, Anita. So can I
Okay.
just tell you one of the things that I learned, I just learned along the way, and part of it was because of the shopping trip. Walmart isn't always the cheapest. And one day I was just minding my own business, walking through the grocery store, and I saw this little package of bacon, and it said bacon ends in pieces on it. And it was $2.99 a pound. And so when I
Wow.
looked at, yeah, right. And so when I looked into it, I was like, what are bacon ends in pieces? And it's just like what's left over when they cut the nice pretty slices that they're going to sell you for $6.99 a pound. So these pieces aren't pretty. You might get like a fatter piece or, a short piece,
Yep.
a long piece. They're just kind of random leftovers, but they're just bacon. And at one of my local grocery stores, if they don't have them on the shelf, I can just order them for my butcher. So I'm currently getting all my bacon for $2.99 a pound, except this week they went on sale for $1.99 a pound.
Oh
guys.
my goodness.
I bought 10 pounds of bacon.
I bet.
Yes,
That's
I did.
amazing. That's a really good tip. Everybody should check
Bacon
for
ends and
ends
pieces.
and pieces. Oh my. So, but I do concur with you when you said, right there that Walmart is not always the cheapest, because I think a couple of days after that, down the road here, I was in a store and they sell the 500-gram packages, which is more than a pound, for cheaper than the 12-ounce package at Walmart. And to me, it looked like about the same. There really wasn't any difference in ingredients or anything like that. Certainly not as low as $2.99 a pound, but it was still a good deal compared to Walmart.
Yeah.
So let's see what else is in the shopping bag. And sorry about it. It's taking a long time to load up these clips for some reason. Here we are. so still less, but not too far off. And you got hamburger, right, or ground beef?
I did. I got ground beef. Yes, ma'am.
My ground beef, they did sell them in a per pound package there, so it's much easier for me to figure out. So this works out to $4.42 a pound.
Okay, well, my Walmart had ground beef in the trays like that, but it's more expensive when you buy it like that. In the Chubs, it's cheaper, but this is a pound of ground beef.
Okay.
It is $73.27, and I've never eaten $73.27. I've been buying $80.20, so I'm actually excited to try it. But this was the cheapest ground beef that they had in the per pound packages.
Okay.
So this was $4.62 for this pound of ground beef.
So just a little bit more than mine.
Yeah, you beat me on that one,
20
Canada.
cents, but, yeah. Okay, so ground beef. Let's talk about ground beef for a minute.
Yeah. So when I first started carnivore, I would eat ground beef I would make ground beef bowls, like power bowls, if you want to call them that, or BBB eat bowls. I couldn't get enough of those. And then I went into this, I can't do another bite of ground beef like that. It's not a feeling I've experienced with any other kinds of meat, except for some reason ground beef. Have you experienced anything like that, Anita?
I have, and it's funny because it does happen more with ground beef than with other meats, where I'm like, okay, I've had enough ground beef for a while. I think I'm going to do something else. But the good thing about ground beef is that, at least here, it goes on sale quite often. I was just checking my Flip app today, and right down the road from me, and I'm almost tempted, if there wasn't so much ice out there, I would go right after this right after this live stream. It's on sale for $3.49 a pound.
Nice.
And so when you think about that, if you are on a tight budget, and say, like for me, I try to hit 140, 150 grams of protein in a day.
Okay.
So that would be about 1.5 pounds of meat. If you try to do that with ribeye or something, it's that cost is going to add up. But I can do 1.5 pounds of this ground beef for $5. $5 a day. I could have my protein, and that's I don't, if it's add a little bit of butter or a little bit of tallow, and that would be all I would need. I could afford to add eggs to it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could afford to add organic eggs too.
Organic eggs with those yolks with all the vitamins. Whereas
Yes.
I don't stress out too much about if the beef is grass fed, finished, or whatever. More. But so yeah, the ground beef has been on sale several times here for $2.99 a pound. Again, at other stores other than Walmart, right?
Yes.
So $2.99 a pound is a great deal. And the other thing I found is if I put it into, I started doing other recipes because I was like, it's just economical, and I want to find a way that I can make something that I'm not having an aversion to. So when I put it in to a meatloaf, or I made these little mini beef cups with a little bacon, a little egg with the ground beef, they were delicious. And I all of a sudden I wasn't sick of it anymore. So that was kind of cool.
Sometimes you just need a variety, and ground beef lends itself to so many different recipes. Ground beef soup, you can make a mitza, you can make meatloaf, like you said, all kinds of things, and even a stew with other meats and some ground beef in it. The ground beef kind of cuts the cost of that whole recipe, just because it itself is so inexpensive. So yeah, I think it's a good thing to stock up on when it's on sale. So let's go to the next clip and see what we have. The one and only thing. So let's go to pork. We both wanted to get some pork ribs. I have some nice, thick, juicy ones here that I was wanting to get the boneless ones, like the country ribs that you had shown me earlier. So that's, the one you have, they didn't have, but these were big, meaty ribs, but they do have bones in them. So they work out to $5.93 a pound.
Okay, well, these are my boneless country style pork ribs. These are very good, very fat. I'm sure you can see they're very
Yeah.
fatty too. I love them. So these are $4.14 a pound. This particular package was 1.72 pounds, so it was $7.12.
Wow. This package here. Okay. I don't have a lot to say about pork other than I discovered after doing this shopping trip that Costco is way cheaper for pork than Walmart
Oh
is.
yeah. So the only thing I will say about pork is I love pork. But I cannot do it every day. So I bought one of those from Costco, the pork shoulder, and I did it in the crock pot. Oh my gosh, it was delicious. So good. I ate it like 3 days in a row because obviously it's Costco size, right? So I've got all this pork, and my son loved it. But after 3 days, I noticed my energy was like kind of waning. And then I cooked up some like beef flanken ribs and I was like, oh, there it is. Like, so I can do pork, but I can't if I do it too much without putting in some beef. I do notice my energy drain.
I feel exactly the same way. I feel like I have to use it sparingly. You know, like, yes, it's a good way to decrease the budget, but it has to be sort of a small percentage of what I eat. I just, beef is what does it for me. It gives me that energy. So, yeah, so but those big roasts, those are a really good way to go.
So
They're
good.
often on sale too.
Yeah, and
Okay.
those boneless country style ribs I bought are pretty good in the Instant Pot and finished off under the broiler.
I have
to give them a little,
found,
they're really good.
yeah, and I have, since that video that we did, I have found those at a local store, and they are
great.
very good. I agree. I mean, I never even knew they existed until you showed me that. So
I can't
Okay,
believe I taught you something about food, Anita.
oh,
I can't
come
believe
on.
it. You guys, she's amazing.
Well, I learn new things every day. So
Yeah.
So let's go to the next thing. See what
Okay.
else we have in our bag of tricks there. Oh, Canadian price was $18.80, but I'm still talking about
it
the
is
pork. 2.2 pounds approximately because it's 1 kilogram.
And
Yeah.
are those kind of bones? Can you save those bones to make? Do you use those type of bones for your bone broth? Or do
I
you just-
never have before. These are the little round. I'm gonna try the kind of round bones.
Oh, my favorite
Yeah.
right here.
The Walmarts here in Canada do not have great meat selection. And so I ended up getting a blade steak, which is just like a chuck steak in the US, which is, we've been calling it the poor man's ribeye. It is nicely marbled with fat. I've been eating these a lot lately and liking them. So this one works out to $7.50 a pound, and this package is exactly a pound.
Nice. So this is where my splurge was a little bit on the fact that this is the picanha roast,
Yeah.
otherwise known as beef top sirloin, but it has a fat cap on the top, that's about yay thick.
Oh, I know.
I love it. So the price per pound on these, it's gone up about $1 a pound over the last since I've discovered it, but it's $8.74 a pound, which is a lot better than, a ribeye or something like that most of the time. But this particular one was 2.3 pounds. So I normally would get a little bit smaller one if they had it, because I'm usually the only one eating this. But this was the smallest one they had that particular day. So this came out to $20.10.
So worth it.
Oh, yeah.
For that-
I can get,
for that.
2.5 meals out of that. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so we got to the beef there. Yeah. So those are on the higher end of what we bought. But when you compare a blade steak or a chuck steak and a picanha steak to what a ribeye or a T-bone or any of those cuts cost, it's still a huge savings.
Yes.
I think.
And those picanhas, I think, give ribeye a run for their money. Like, it's not the same flavor. I can eat a chuck eye and feel like it's similar to a ribeye. picanha has a different flavor from a ribeye, but it is delicious in its very own way. And I do like them equally well. And so, yeah, I buy one of those once a week and make it on the weekends and then just eat off of that, throughout the weekend, 2 or 3 days, it's great.
Yes, I love those. And our Costco, bless their hearts, because I've seen pictures. People sometimes post pictures of what they buy, and I've seen them trimmed of their fat cap, and it makes me sad. But the Costco that I go to, they leave it on. And it's almost like they find the thickest one they can and put it out, and I'm so grateful to them for that.
That's awesome.
Yes, yes. So at Costco, they sell them 3 to a bag, and it can cost you $50 or something, and it feels like you're putting out a lot of money. But then I separate those 3 out, and the one roast is 2.5 to 3 pounds, and like you said, it lasts for a few days after you cook it. So to me, it's a really good deal, and I would much rather pay that than. The ribeyes have gone up so much, even at Costco, they've gone up.
Yes. I did find ribeyes on sale for $7.99 a pound. I think last week. Yeah, it was very nice. I think I bought about 20 steaks and I put them in my freezer. I have a freezer out in my garage, which I think we're going to talk about a little later.
Yes, definitely, because that is something, we're definitely that's in our tips. So let's go to the next clip, and I want to get to the tuna. I don't know if that's next or not.
Oh, the tuna, yeah.
Cool. Yes. So then we also bought a couple of canned seafood tins. So this is 170 grams before you drain it, and that's $1.46. Skipjack tuna in water. The only thing added is sea salt.
So you want to know something that's very hilarious, and by hilarious I mean sad, is in California here, it says on the front of the package, chunk light tuna in water. But when you look at these ingredients, it is light tuna, water, vegetable broth, and salt. So, and I could not find, if I wanted to get one that did not contain the vegetable salt, and I turned around every can of tuna, it would have been about $4 for the can of tuna.
Yeah.
So I opted for this can of tuna here, which is $1.14. Now it's a little bit smaller than yours. So with the liquid included, it's 142 grams.
Okay, it's comparable. Okay, so yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so I was really surprised by that.
Yeah, I was too. And some of my, I've talked about it on a couple other live streams I've done, and it prompted people to run to their kitchens and check their tuna here in the US. And they found a vegetable broth in their tuna too, in the lower end, the cans that are about $1, like between $1 to $2. They're all finding vegetable broth in that tuna.
Yeah. Yeah. So one has to wonder what is in the vegetable broth, because they're not going to say on the can. It's just going to say, it's like natural flavors. Right. You just have no idea unless you contact the manufacturer and ask them. And people don't tend to do that. So,
right.
I don't know.
And I wouldn't do that either. And so what I've been doing, because I have been trying to kind of follow your lead and, make sure I'm getting enough grams of protein. And so I just do the canned salmon. So the canned salmon here does not, the less expensive canned salmon, wild caught, does not have the broth. So I don't know why they put it in the tuna and not the salmon, but same company, Starkist or fill in the blank, whatever, all of them,
Yeah, I buy a lot of canned salmon here too, and it's most of it is wild caught. It's hard to even find one that isn't, and it's just water and the salmon, and so I feel like that's probably the safest way to go. And sardines are a good budget thing. We didn't buy sardines that day, but sardines are a great budget thing to have. So I think the only other thing that was left on that clip was cream cheese, and I don't know. Do you have anything to say about cream cheese? I don't really. I still have the same package I bought that day.
That's funny. So the only thing I remember about this cream cheese was the Great Value brand having quite a few carbs. as compared to the
Yes.
Philadelphia brand. So as per the
Yes.
other couple, like the annatto and the vegetable broth, read your labels because it
Yes.
just says that it's cream cheese, but one brand from the next. I think the Great Value brand had like 2 grams of carbs per ounce or something like that, which was quite
Yeah.
a bit more.
Yeah. So, it was kind of, my thing was just to sort of compare, and I felt that other than maybe the eggs, and a couple other things, that after I did the conversion, it wasn't that far off in price,
Yeah.
but it was a lesson in label reading, wasn't it? Like it
Yeah.
just was really interesting.
I never would have thought that about the tuna. That one was a big, it was like a surprise. I did eat that can of tuna, but I felt the need to like wash it off. I put it in a strainer and like rinsed it
Yeah.
off because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's not a lot, but I don't know. I just felt called to do that. So I did, because I just don't know what's in that broth.
I don't blame you. So I think now, because we're halfway through, I want to flip over to see what questions have come in and any shout outs to do. So,
Cool.
want to give a shout out to Barb, who became a member of my channel
Oh,
today.
yay, Barb.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much. Just Jason Keto is in the house. I want to acknowledge you because you are... Now, why aren't you coming on the screen there? I'm trying to... we have maybe some slow internet tonight. Must be all that cold.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
Jason Keto, thank you for always coming and supporting this channel.
Hi,
Sophia. Okay, so I think we can talk to Sophia here. Ground meat recipes would be great. Oh, it popped away while I was reading it. Ground meat recipes would be great as I struggle to enjoy it. Love all other meats, however. So you have a lot of good ground beef recipes on your channel that you've done lately. So I think we
Yes.
have some listed in your video notes, and I've listed those same ones in mine. And Sophia, I also have a playlist of budget recipes, and there are some ground beef recipes included in that. But it's definitely something I think I'm going to pay a little more attention to it going forward. Just to create some more interest for ground beef because it is so budget friendly.
Yeah, absolutely. My recipes came from this aversion that I got to ground beef. I just didn't like eating it out of a bowl anymore. But yeah, I did a meatloaf recipe relay, and I don't think I linked that one, but I should have, because what that was a different YouTuber, did like a different iteration of the meatloaf, and it really made it customizable for people, put the bacon in or not, put the cream cheese in or not, kind of a thing. Or
well, you can send me that link and I'll add it to my video description.
Yeah, okay,
if you
cool.
like. So yeah.
I will do that.
That sounds like a good idea because it would show you different ways of doing a meatloaf because, there's so many variations that you could do there. So Carmen, hi Carmen. Carmen is always here too.
Hi Carmen.
So nice. So my metamorphosis. Hi, Christy and Anita. It's 22 degrees outside Nashville at the moment. I guess that's cold for Nashville.
That's cold, Carrie. But at least there's no tornadoes. There was a tornado, I think, warning the other day. So.
Okay, Celia. What do you think about fermented cabbage? Every doctor says it's a miracle what it does in the intestines. I don't have cabbage, and I don't know if you do either. So like sauerkraut, is that basically what we're talking about here? Fermented cabbage. I am into fermentation now, though. I've been fermenting yogurt, the 36-hour fermentation, L. reuteri or L. reuteri. I don't know what it's called. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I do know that Dr. Davis of the Super Gut book, he is really into fermented foods, and that would include cabbage and other vegetables and things like that. But I just don't. I'm open to fermentation, but I just don't know a lot about it to offer anything right now.
Yeah, I will add to what you said, Dr. Sean O'Mara with the sprinting protocol. He's also very into adding in some fermented veg.
Okay.
And my cabbage of preference is actually, believe it or not, kimchi. My grandfather was Korean.
Okay.
And so we would eat kimchi. And I actually did find a clean one. I haven't purchased it yet. I say clean, meaning no added sugar, because a lot of times when you turn over and flip that label around,
Yes.
there'll be sugar in there.
Yeah.
The one I found, because I don't think I want to attempt making kimchi, but the one I found doesn't have any, and I just haven't purchased it yet, but I'll keep you guys posted and let you know. I wanted to add a little bit back. I think it'll taste good with the flanken ribs that I like to do. So.
Definitely. Okay. So Sophia has another question. Meatloaf needs flavoring. What other than salt can a carnivore use to flavor it?
Great question.
Yes, and I have something to say about that, because I get that kind of thing, that kind of comment about well, this isn't carnivore, that isn't carnivore. So my goal in this whole health journey was never was I want to be a carnivore. It was always I want to be as healthy as I can. That has led me to carnivore. And on carnivore, I choose seasonings that I can tolerate, and I don't eat the seasonings that cause me distress. Things like black pepper, anything from the nightshade family. I don't have a problem with calling myself a carnivore while I have some oregano or something like that. I'm good with it. Christy, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way as you. So in terms of her question, as far as flavoring, so what I put, like I said, I did the meatloaf relay, and my leg of the relay was the most basic meatloaf with not a lot of extras, but it was a couple of pounds of ground beef. And then what I used was pork rind crumbs, and I used the ones from Porking Good. And they have a seasoned one that had I think some garlic powder and some things like that in there. And then I just did my Redmond salt and then some egg for a binder. But as people added things to it, they added some bacon or something, some things like that. I think one person took out half the beef and did sausage. So it was half Italian sausage, half beef, which gives it kind of a different twist too. So, there's things like that you can do to add it for flavor. The comments that I was getting from the people, because there were several carnivores that tried it that hadn't had meatloaf since their pre-carnivore days with all the ketchup and stuff, and they said they liked this better. So I would just say give it a try with something like that, with whatever seasonings, you can tolerate, and maybe think about adding those flavored or seasoned pork rinds, because that helped bind it together, but also add a little bit of seasoning. I also got the advice to use smoked salt, and I think that would be delicious in a meatloaf. And I haven't tried it yet, but everybody that's done the smoked salt in the meatloaf says it's absolutely delicious. So
yeah, I like the smoked salt too. It's good. Yeah, so I mean, and as far as seasonings for a carnivore, you have to know yourself and what you are, what you're if you have an autoimmune condition and all you can tolerate is beef and salt, well, that's all you can tolerate. There isn't, but if you don't have that and you can tolerate seasonings, it's up to you whether you want to use them or not. You have to have some, what do I want to say? You just have to know your body and what it can take, and then proceed carefully if you're worried about it. Claudia has a question. Does canning meat process affect nutritional value of meat? Have little to no space for stocking meat in the freezer, which rarely happens over here anyway. I think that canning is something that mothers and grandmothers have been doing for generations. I think it is a good thing to do if you, I mean, I personally don't can, and I don't know how to can. But I don't think it affects, I mean, if it does, it's got to be minor, I would think. And it's certainly better than not having anything when you need it. I should ask my cousin about it because she's like a homesteader and she cans all the meat from their farm and everything. Here in Canada, I don't think you can buy much in the way of canned meat other than canned seafood and canned chicken. But there isn't, like, I've never seen canned beef, for example. So do you know anything about canning and what it does?
No, I don't. I've only just heard people like Dr. Barry talking about all of the meat is going to be better than the not meat, right? So whether it's canned or whatever that might be, if that's what you have room for, like you're talking about your space, for storage purposes, for sure, he would say, I've heard him say, go with the canned or things like that. I have not heard I have not heard either way, if it negatively or doesn't affect it.
Yeah. Maybe somebody in the audience can tag you if they know. So, never heard of picanha.
Oh, here we go.
To convert you.
We are.
It is so in my Costco, they call it sirloin cap. And you had another name. What did they call it at your store?
I've heard it's like sirloin cap at my store, or picanha, or somebody else said like coulette. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It was like coulette. Yes, but I've never seen it as that name here.
Yeah.
But I've heard that it's in some places it's called that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, it's beautiful top sirloin meat with a huge fat cap if you're lucky.
Yes, and my mom I get mine at Walmart, but not all Walmarts have it. My mom found that out the hard way. She lives about an hour south of me, and she went to 4 different Walmarts. But she did go to her butcher counter at the grocery store, and they knew exactly what she was talking about. And they said to her, now, normally our policy is to trim the fat to 1/4 of an inch. And she said, no, thank you. Please just leave all the fat. So if you go to your butcher counter, you may be able to kind of customize that and leave on more of the fat cap, because that is for sure the best part. It's very delicious.
It makes the whole thing so amazing.
And it's easy to make. Like I've never had one turn out, tasting bad or off, or it's easy to cook.
Yeah. So Melissa has come to the rescue here. Picanha is a cut of beef taken from the top of the rump. You might also know it as rump cover, and I have seen rump roast. Rump cover, rump cap, sirloin cap, or even culotte steak. So thank you for that, Melissa. Hang on. Let me go back to the comments here. And Susan Lydia says, I like that you bought similar things and comparing stores and prices. Thank you. It was kind of fun and a good exercise.
Yeah.
Love's Truth ground beef recipes would definitely be good. I think we will both work on that. Danny buys meat in bulk at a restaurant supply store called U.S. Foods Chef Store. Break it down and freeze it. Good savings on most things. Yes, I agree with that. Christy, have you ever bought like a whole strip loin or a whole one of those long ribeye roasts that you can cut up?
So I'm laughing because I did try it. So at Christmas time here, the ribeye roasts go on sale, and I found one store had them for $5.77 a pound, and one store had them for $6.99 a pound. So I went to both stores because there were limits, so I went to both stores and like maxed out my limits, and I came home all excited. And I'm not a butcher or something. I don't know. People online make it look easy. I ended up just cooking them as roasts and just eating them that way. I could not get, between the bones and figure that out. So maybe I'll give it another go.
You should
in the future.
You should. It is pretty easy. You just need a big knife. I have a 10-inch knife that I use.
Okay.
in my budget videos playlist, I have 2 videos. One where I butchered, and I'm butchering the butchering. I'm not,
Right.
I was like, in the video. I was like, okay, if you know any butchers, don't show them this video because they will laugh at me. But
Yeah.
I literally just slice those things up, and so I did a strip loin video, and I did the big rib roast. It was a huge one that came from Costco.
Yeah.
Totally worth it. I'm sure I saved like $100 on each of those.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
Totally worth it. Margot has a question. Margot's Vintage Vibes. Do you eat only organic meat? I don't think so. I don't.
No. So what
No.
I've done, Margot, I like your question. So what I've done is, when I can afford to, like I've already said, I do buy the pasture raised eggs, and they're about $5 a dozen here. I don't think I said that. But I've also decided when it comes to pork and chicken, I do order like pasture raised pork and chicken. Just because, if I can afford it, I buy it from one of those companies that just kind of delivers it to you. It's not very expensive compared to what's in the store. Well, the chicken might be a little more expensive. I don't think the pork is that much more. But just since it's not, it's not a ruminant animal, I don't know. I just thought if I can afford it, I'm going to do that because when I did eat that regular pork after 3 days and feeling kind of energy drained, I wanted to see if it would make a difference, if I bought the pasture raised. And I haven't tried the pasture raised pork yet. So some came and it's kind of in my freezer. I did eat some of the chicken, but I didn't try the 3-day thing. I just ate chicken once and then went back to beef. But beef is just the regular beef. Like I haven't yet tried any, just whatever beef is in the grocery store is what I do.
Yeah, I'm generally the same. Now, in the place where I lived before I moved here, there was a butcher in the neighborhood, and he was like a heritage butcher. Everything in the store was, no hormones, non-GMO, organic, like all that stuff. And I bought things there wherever I could, like they would have sales and they would have things in the freezer that were cheaper than things that were in the glass counter. And so I liked shopping there because, I knew that it was really good quality. But, budgetarily, I can't afford to just not to refuse to eat unless it's organic or grass fed or whatever. Like it's just not there. So I just, when I can buy something good, I do. And the rest of the time I just enjoy the meat and, think how much better it is than what I was doing before, when I was over 320 pounds.
I mean, it's working for you, Anita.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah. And I do feel really super healthy. And I, I know you do as well. Like it's, it's of benefit, even if we're not, perfect, organic, grass-fed meat eaters.
Right.
We're doing the best we can.
Yep.
Question from Becky. What do you think of canned oysters in olive oil? I couldn't find them in water. I wish I could find canned oysters in olive oil. Here where I live, it's all sunflower oil. There's no oysters to be found. Yeah. I just have not been, and I even checked Canadian Amazon. I thought, well, I could order some because I do like canned oysters, but I'm not going to order them in sunflower oil.
No, I wouldn't either. I'm not the person to answer this question, Becky, because I'm not a big seafood. The salmon that I'm adding in, Anita can attest to this. That's like a huge, like she's laughing because it's a huge milestone for me. That's a huge win. Like I'm eating salmon and I'm eating it mostly every day.
I think the first time I talked to you, you hadn't ever, like since you went carnivore, you hadn't ever eaten salmon, and then you emailed me and said I ate salmon.
I did eat salmon. I mean, I've eaten salmon in my life, and I even tried some. They had some at Thanksgiving, like some smoked salmon, and I didn't like that. the can of salmon that I'm doing, I just look at it as like vitamins or something. I'm not enjoying it, but it's like I'm doing it. And so I'm pretty proud of myself. But I'm not the one to talk about oysters because I'm for sure I haven't eaten them.
Yeah. No, I would. So for me personally, I would be all over those oysters in the olive oil. Now, I know that some people say don't trust the olive oil in the cans. And, I get that. But I would be so excited because, I mean, you could always rinse it off if you are suspect of the olive oil. I mean, that's what I would do. But at least I would know that, okay, there might be a little bit of olive oil on there. I wouldn't be worried about, like if I was to rinse off the ones in the sunflower oil, it's probably seeped in or something. So, yeah, I'd be happy to find those. So we have just one more thing here, and then I've got a couple of questions on my sheet here that we were going to hopefully cover, but look how fast the time went.
I know.
So Audrey, thank you for this. Butcher Wizard is a great YouTube channel for how to cut up large pieces of meat to save tons of money.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great tip.
Yes. So, so there is, I forgot to mention this, there is a little handout where it's on in Christy's description as well as in my video description. It's just a summary of, I know you can't see it here, but it's so basic, like the shopping, the sales and the flyers, buy whole cuts and cut yourself. So, here's one of my favorites. Save the meat, bones, and fat. So I consider these sorts of things to be free products. You can make your own mayonnaise from some of the fat. You can make your own tallow. You can make bone broth. Bone broth is a huge thing, to make because it's got all that collagen in it. And it's practically free when you save the bones. And then the last, buy whole beef, lamb, or pig. Share it with a friend. Christy talked about her freezer in the garage, and I have one downstairs in the laundry room, or what we used to call the laundry room. Now it's the freezer room. If you can find a space for a little chest freezer or something, and learn how to cook the cheaper cuts and learn what they are. So I want to get this off the screen now. And back to, there we are.
There we are.
So I just wanted to say that you can download that little sheet from both of our YouTubes there. And how much time do we have left? We still have a few minutes left. So do you think it is too expensive to do carnivore or keto?
Absolutely, it is not too expensive to do carnivore or keto. What's tricky is my whole family did not come on this ride with me. But when I think about all the things I was eating throughout the day, like it hit me. I made like a little short about, a pound of ground beef was on sale right now for $2.99 a pound. And like the granola bars I used to eat were like, I priced it out like price per pound, and it was like triple that price. And how many of those would I eat? And what else would I have to eat throughout the day?
Exactly.
I'm not just eating a granola bar, but like my food for the day might be a pound of ground beef and a few eggs.
Yes.
And so it's actually, I know it's cheaper even when I do splurge on a picanha, which is a mild splurge because it's, what did I say, $8.74 a pound, right?
Yeah.
Or when the ribeyes go on sale or that kind of thing.
I 100% agree. You've got to compare it to what are the prices of these things that we are not buying, because both keto and carnivore are more about what you are leaving out than what you are eating. Because I think even people on standard American diet eat meat, but they're eating all those other things. And when you compare nutritionally ounce for ounce, that is what you have to do. Like figure out, well, what does an ounce or what does 4 ounces of meat cost, or a pound of meat? What is a pound of, whatever else you're buying? And what is the nutrition per ounce or per pound or whatever? I think people would be surprised if they did that comparison, as to what value there is.
I think when people are coming in, they don't fully comprehend. It's like, no, all that other stuff's going to go away because they're thinking, I'm going to be buying all this meat. And they think what their grocery bill already is. And they're thinking about
Yes.
adding all that meat on top of what they're already spending. And to your
Yes.
point, they're not thinking about the things that are going to go away.
Right. Yes,
So.
I agree. So that's something to keep in mind is all the things that you are not going to be buying. And even I guess like I don't like to do the carnivore versus keto thing because I did well on keto for many years. I know many people who do well on keto, but the carnivore does have that one little advantage of keto in that we're not buying, nut flours. We're not buying, the extras that people do buy to make different recipes and things. We're just cooking the meat, and so I just will throw that out there for the people who are going, oh, can I go carnivore? It sounds expensive. Honest to goodness, I walk into the store, it takes me 10 minutes, or 5 minutes. Like I'm just going to the meat counter.
Yep.
The only
Beeline.
aisle I go down is the fish aisle, like the canned fish aisle, because I do like my sardines and my salmon and things.
Yep.
That's it. I'm not getting that other stuff, unless one of the kids has asked me to pick up something. So in your area, what do you think is the most budget-friendly cuts that are available around where you are?
So for sure, the ground beef, which is why I'm glad that
Yeah.
I found those other recipes for sure. The other one is chuck roast. They're on sale this week for $3.99 a pound. So $3.99 a pound for chuck roast, and you can put that in a crock pot. I just did one on Friday, so it's great because I'm a teacher. For those of you that don't know me. And so, on my way, I got up in the morning, I put my chuck roast in my crock pot on low with just a little water and salt. And it was good. I mean, my 15-year-old ate a big bowl of it. And so, there's a ringing endorsement, right?
Yeah.
And $3.99 a pound, you can't really beat that. And I do like it better than just a bowl of ground beef. Like I can still do, chuck roast. It's very good. It's very fatty. The little bit of juice in there, and it kind of makes a little soup in a way.
Yeah.
When you do it like that, it's really good.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, here our chuck roasts or what we call blade roasts, are not as cheap as that, but they are still a really good deal and so easy to make. I would say ground beef I can often get it in the $3 to $4 range per pound, which I think is still really good. It can make. I mean, you can have budget carnivore if you're including these types of things in there, and then some eggs and things. So I think I think it sounds like it's probably about the same in both of our countries there. And I had a question here, but I think we've answered it in this whole thing, and that is that can you eat meat based for under $10 a day? I think you can.
For sure.
Especially if you're including ground beef and eggs and things like that. I think. So I would say the answer to that is yes. Now, do I, in practice, eat for $10 a day? I generally like to have steaks here and there, so probably not. But if I had to, I could, and maybe I'll find out once I retire at the end of March.
Right? So like I said, I have my big freezer. So in the summer, the ribeyes go on sale several times throughout the summer for $6.99 a pound. And then I fill my freezer up and I save all those bones. I think that was one of the first thing we bonded over was we both have a bone bag in our freezer, for saving those bones to make the bone broth.
Yes, we do.
I used to feel like that was like, oh man, I'm paying all this money for these bones. It used to annoy me before I was carnivore. And now I'm like, sweet, I get all these bones and I can get some bone broth.
Yeah, and if you buy bone broth, it can be really pricey to buy
very pricey,
bone broth.
yes.
So to us, those of us who have a bone bag in our freezer,
Yep.
that's a the bone broth is a freebie. So I like it. I'm just gonna pop up a couple more things here. The
Sure.
bearded butcher. We are getting close to the hour, but we're We're doing well. The Bearded Butchers have many instructional videos about cutting up your own meat. Thank you, Claudia. I think I've heard of them. So yeah, let's look those ones up. Jazzy Mama, your hair looks great. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Margot, Christy, do you know of anyone who is carnivore and has a survival pantry for disasters?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I don't know any carnivores in real life. I will say that right off the bat. I have a couple of friends and my mom who are like meat-based, real food, whole food, keto. But since starting my YouTube channel, I've met several carnivores, and there are a few who either have homesteads or do like their own canning and have, you know, shelves and shelves of things that they've prepared for that kind of a situation. So I do know a couple, but just they're like through YouTube, like YouTube friends, you know.
What kind of things do they stock up on?
Oh, so I just saw my friend Cami. Her channel is at Last Day of Normal, and she was actually canning ground beef. So she had bought a whole bunch of ground beef and she was cooking it up and canning it in her pressure canner. I don't know a lot about that. I've never canned in my life. Yeah. It's something I might have my mom teach me. I mean, she's never canned meat, but she used to can like jams and jellies when I was a kid. Yeah. So I think she can teach me how to do it. So I may at some point try it, you know, but yeah.
I think it's good to have a pantry stocked with things. That used to be my mom's job. And we always used to say when the I can't say the word. When the zombie apocalypse hits, we go to my mom's. Everybody head over to Nana's house.
Yeah.
So we have used up our hour. I can't believe it. Here we are. Thank you, everybody, for all your great questions. Thank you, Christy, for coming on here with me and doing this together and doing the assignment of shopping, you know, at Walmart. And I know shopping at Walmart it can be a fun or not thing at times. You know,
it's an adventure all its own.
It is. It's a totally different experience every time you go. So, so we'll have to do something again sometime. Thank you for coming
I would love to. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I always have a great time with you.
Yeah, I had a great time with you the other night. So on your channel too. So good night, everybody. We will let you guys go and enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. I have some collagen stew waiting for me in my kitchen, and
all right.
That video is coming out tomorrow or the next day. We'll see. But other than that, you guys have a great time, and we'll see you next time. Please join me next weekend for Alice and Kevin, and we're going to talk about exercise.
Awesome. So, bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.